North Texas mother is asking for more accountability. This is after her son was attacked at a sleepover. This evening, she found out that 2 young students will be facing charges, but considering what they forced him to do, she says, and told our Aaron Jones, the possible punishment, not even enough.
So what I just played you right there was a clip from a local news media outlet describing a mother who was absolutely outraged that there was a lack of accountability in what was described by the local news and the mother as a vicious attack on her 13-year-old son while he was having a sleepover with other 13-year-olds at his particular school. Now, what actually happened in this particular instance was a prank among a bunch of boys that were having a sleepover, but as you can imagine, back in the day, because the boy who was pranked and filmed being pranked happened to be black, and some of the other people, including the one that was targeted by the mother in a defamation campaign, happened to be white, this was attributed to evil white racism, and the mother and the attorney for the mother went to the media and did everything and anything that they could possibly do in order to defame the family of the 13-year-old himself, and guess what? Now the chickens have come home to roost, because it turns out, after multiple investigations, the police in that area determined that this was a regular, ordinary, not racially motivated prank. The child was just the first one to fall asleep. The allegations, or allegations as the super mayor would call them,
false allegations and not facts,
of racial slurs and racial motivation were just manufactured by the mother, a Black Lives Matter group, and of course the attorney for the mother that was trying to get sympathy for her and for her child, and this ultimately ended up leading to the ruining of this 13-year-old's life, who, by the way, they published the private information of, even though he was only charged at any point in time with a misdemeanor throughout the whole course of this case, and a misdemeanor as a juvenile, because they just could not let it go. They saw their moment to grift off of evil white racism, and that's exactly what they did, or at least what they tried to do. But guess what? Years later, now that this boy is 19 years old, he has sued the mother and her attorney, and he's been awarded a judgment by a jury of his peers of $3.2 million for this particular race hoax, and this is what we're going to talk about today. But before we get into that, I want to thank everybody who supports this channel via actualjusticewarrior.com/join.
Give me the money. Give me the money. Okay?
For more than 7 months, they've been waiting for criminal charges. Summer Smith's son, 13 at the time, attending Haggard Middle School, shown in this now viral video being forced to drink urine at a sleepover last February. Smith says one of Samarian Humphrey's classmates befriended him a month prior to get him to attend with the intention of bullying and assaulting him, and that night he was also shot with BBs while asleep, then called racial slurs.
and it has affected him. You know, his depression, his anxiety and stuff is definitely affecting him, and we're by no means out of, you know, like the healing process.
So look, I blocked off every aspect of the video. You can go to the local news segment to see their blurred version of the video that they have in that particular segment. But the fact is, it's disgusting, it's gross, it's wildly inappropriate. But at a certain point, you gotta point out that these are 13-year-old boys. They do goofy, gross things to each other all the time. And all the allegations of this being racially motivated come from the mother, the attorney, and of course, the Black Lives Matter group that decided to rally around this case, because the supply of racism nowhere meets the demand in the United States of America, and they kept pressing the Plano police in order to press charges in this particular instance.
The story that led to protests.
This is absolutely unthinkable.
Press conferences and international headlines started with this video. We've blurred it because it shows a group of kids. One is drinking from a cup the kids say has urine in it. The mom of the boy drinking was outraged.
This is not a prank. This is beyond bullying. You are evil. They are evil.
Even though the initial determination and 7 months after the initial determination, they did not have grounds to make charges. But the thing is, you were in the post-George Floyd era. You had all these people claiming evil white racism. A harassment campaign was leveled not just against the boy, but against the police department. So eventually they decided to drum up some charges, misdemeanor charges. They charged it as a juvenile, but of course, this was not good enough for the mother nor her attorney because they were out for blood. Of course, their child was humiliated, so part of this is in fact understandable, but the idea that you are going to make this thing, which by the way would not have gotten the attention that it did but for your action, into this massive deal and make it a racial instance, and then go out of your way to target this boy and his family when he's a 13-year-old over some kind of behavior that, by the way, your son had participated in as well because he was in this group of friends, absurd, insane, and it turns out also something that you can be held civilly liable for.
To find out that it's like the equivalent of a ticket with just a little fine, that says to me what they think about my child.
They chose the absolute lowest level, which is the equivalent of a ticket. No jail time, no threat of jail time. It's fine.
Smith's attorney, Kim Cole, hoping for at the very least a Class A misdemeanor.
When you handle these types of situations with kid gloves, it's not a deterrent.
Now again, obviously you could see for yourself from the various local news clips at the time, and by the way, some national news media interviews, that the mother, Summer Smith, was leveling all sorts of additional accusations beyond the recording, trying to make this a racial thing, and obviously Black Lives Matter and of course the attorney for her got involved in order to create a hysteria that was taking advantage of the racial hysteria at the time. However, like I said, recently a jury ended up hearing the evidence of this case, realized that Summer Smith was exaggerating, exploiting this, and actually participating, in my opinion, in racist bullying herself, so they decided to award this young man, the person who was targeted as the evil white racist while he was in 8th grade as a 13-year-old, $3.2 million. And let's get into this New York Post article so you could see some of the justification for this. But a jury last week ruled that Smith's accusations, as well as the subsequent viral narrative that exploded after the teen was outed on social media, had invaded Van's privacy, forced him to endure severe emotional distress. Quote, "This wasn't me doing a racist act. This isn't me hating someone because of their skin color. This was me at an immature stage of my life at a sleepover for my birthday, doing immature, dumb things," close quote. Van, who is now a college freshman, ended up telling WFAA in an extended interview. Quote, "I was immature. It was stupid. It was nasty, but it's not who I am, and that's not me today." Now look, I'm not going to play clips from the local news media affiliate's interview. It's 23 minutes long, and you definitely should check it out for yourself. But you know what? Local news media getting a little copyright happy. They're creating a little bit of problems for me. More on that in just a little bit. But we do have a clip from Fox News where they describe some of this stuff that I will play you a little bit from so you can understand exactly what this kid is alleging today based on what was accused of him back in the day. And by the way, has been hanging over his head for about 6 years at this point in time.
We went hunting for frogs. We had big jackets on, so, you know, dumb kids. We each took shots at each other like a Nerf war, except with airsoft guns. Then after, he fell asleep, and way before that, we all agreed whoever falls asleep first gets pranked. And he got pranked, and it was nasty, but it was not like this big racial torture that it was played out to be.
So look, this explanation obviously sounds way more logical than a concocted plan at age 12, because remember, even though he was 13 at the time, the sleepover was for his birthday, but the mom was alleging that they befriended this kid a month prior to this in order to launch this racist attack, plan the sleepover, and all of this elaborate stuff. In comparison to what he just described, obviously his story just rings more true. And again, this was in February, so obviously it was a bit colder out. So shooting each other with airsoft guns prior to this ended up getting twisted by the mother into just shooting him, just targeting him. And by the way, it was stated in the allegations that the boy was shot while he slept, but he's saying that the BB gun little Nerf war that they had happened while they were outside hunting for frogs. Again, things that people in Texas tend to do. They're having fun with the airsoft guns. It's not a big deal. It's regular, ordinary boy stuff. And then, of course, he talks about the nasty thing, which is the drinking of the pee, which is gross. Everybody knows it's gross. It's disgusting. If you did that to my kid, I would be absolutely pissed. But again, leveraging that to make a racialized scenario in order to get more fame for yourself, identifying your kid as the pee drinker for the world to see in order to get a Black Lives Matter group on your side, kind of absurd, if you will. And then going after identifying and doxing a 13-year-old, also absurd.
And there is a video of the incident that has come out, and that video been out for quite a while, shows, I believe, and I'm trying to characterize this accurately, exactly what you described, which is that Samarian did drink after you guys woke him up what was some concoction of apple juice, some urine, but he didn't really drink it. He kind of put it up to his mouth. But the point is he moved on. He laughed. And in fact, for 2 weeks, you guys kind of all just went about your business the same way you went into it.
So look, I had to blur out the video because even though the concoction is mostly apple juice and this kid doesn't actually drink it, the fact is YouTube will age restrict the video. And honestly, it's understandable because the local news media blurring is just like the eyes of the kid's face. And if you're describing a child drinking urine, I actually 100% get it. I think we all understand that. But according to the accounts of the people who have seen the actual video, he doesn't really actually drink it. He ends up laughing at the idea, and of course they were friends for weeks, but what ultimately ended up happening is that there was a dispute between another friend in the group and this black child. That friend had the video ends up circulating, and then when it becomes a social media nightmare, the mother apparently comes up with this narrative, or at least this is what the jury believed enough to warrant a $3.2 million judgment, which is no small number, due to the fact that the mother was completely outrageous. And again, the Black Lives Matter groups, the targeted harassment, the attorney for the mother, all of these people try to maximize the victim points in order to get the most amount of attention, and they did so directly at the expense of this kid who was in 8th grade and was 13 at the time. Now, Smith and her attorney, Kim Cole, are actually saying that they're going to appeal this, which makes a lot of sense. A $3.2 million judgment is nothing to sneeze at, and we don't know exactly how this is going to be adjudicated at the appellate level, but as of right now, I do think it is a very important message to people who are angry and decide that they're going to target kids, activists that are angry and decide that they're going to dox kids, and the race hustling attorneys that enable them, that there is actual consequences for this. You will have to pay the price for this, and the 2020 George Floyd hysteria, although Black Lives Matter, all these organizations, and all the additional race hoaxers that appear to have gotten away with it seem to be just enjoying their lives, the fact is justice will be delivered, at least in some of the cases, and hopefully instances like this, the actual backlash of truth and justice, will lead other people in the future to try not to take advantage of those moments when they arise. But of course, that may be me just being optimistic and hopeful. Again, I will leave a lot of information about this particular case down in the comments below, including a local news interview that's like 22 minutes long that I wasn't able to show clips of during the course of this video. But as of right now, that's all I really have for you guys today. Thank you so much for watching. If you liked the video, show them by leaving a like, subscribe for more content, follow me on the social medias, support me via support links in the description of this video. This has been me talking about the absolute madness that went on in this Texas story and the lawsuit that seeks to correct it. Till next time.